your home. Ooh. But no, for real though, you just got a new apartment. Congratulations. Let's give you a few tips. Let's talk about it for real. You just got a new apartment and you're looking for some tips. Well, luckily you came to the right place. Not only are we going to be talking about a few financial tips, we're going to talk about some spiritual, mental, and social tips that you need when you get your first apartment. Because I think that is vital too. You know, you can have the money, but you don't want to be dumb about it, right? What the process looks like as far as getting an apartment is though, you know, you go look at an apartment, you tour it, you see like, oh yeah, this is the one, or this is what I like. And I would say always make sure you tour multiple before you even think about putting in the application, because when it's time to put in the application, it costs money. It costs like $50, sometimes $60, and then you get approved. They take you in because you can pay for the application, and they don't approve you. You get approved, you're gonna have like the sometimes first and last month's rent, depending on it. Sometimes they go by credit, so it depends, or sometimes it's just mandatory. The first and last month's rent, a security deposit, on top of an administrative fee. You have to be mindful of that, you know, going into it. If you feel that you are in a position and you're ready. So my first tip financially is, I know this is not the case for a lot of people, try to keep it 30% or below your budget. Whatever your budget is, on how much you're willing to spend on like your living situation. You know, they be like, make 1 or 3 times the rent or whatever. I would say just consider your entire budget and see how much you're willing to allocate towards rent. I personally don't like spending more than 20% of my income on rent. 33% is like pushing it. But that's something I'm pretty frugal in that area. I'm not going to hold you. And if you feel like that's not doable with the rent that you have, you may need to look into getting roommates. I know it doesn't seem like the best option, but if you live in a college town or something like that, I would highly recommend like looking into like roommates. They offer leasing options where you're in the same unit, but you're on your own lease within that room and you share the common areas or whatnot. And then sometimes you look up and you don't even get a roommate. If you get cool enough with the people in the front office, they might be able to put you in one that's already vacant. Another financial tip I would like to let you guys know is take your time with furniture. Where I would say don't rush yourself to think that when you move into your apartment, it just got to be decked out, laid, this, that. Girl, give yourself some grace. You just got an apartment. Congratulations. And just really take your time. For the third financial tip, I would say account for utilities. So when you are looking at rent, I would say look at the rent that you think you can, the overall amount that you think you can afford a month for your apartment, and take $200 to $300 off of it just for utilities. And I say that because I say $200 to $300 because it sounds steep for some people, but it adds up. You have Wi-Fi. Don't know if water and electricity is included. Electricity 9 out of 10 is not going to be included. Then you might have to pay for the amenities again, like I said, alongside, you know, just different miscellaneous things that come with it depending on like what area you're in. Because in Alabama, power is insane. They have a monopoly out there in Alabama, and only one company does like the power for us. So I'm talking about for an apartment, you're paying like a 1-bedroom apartment. It'll be like $115, $130 for your rent, which is quite crazy to be honest with you. So always make sure you're accounting for utilities no matter what the situation is. And another thing I would say, if you can, save up to 3 to 6 months worth of rent. And the best way to go about this is pay for your apartment before you even get the apartment. You're like, oh, this is what I'm eyeing for. I need to pay rent this month. I got to pay rent this month. If you're in a situation where you can do that to yourself, you just say, oh, I got to pay rent this month. Even if it's just a portion of the rent, you know, like even if you only pay like, let's say, again, easy numbers. Let's just say, oh, rent is $1,000 a month. I need to pay $250 every month towards my apartment, $250. And it's also a good way to manifest too. But ultimately, before you get the apartment, pay for the apartment is what I like to say. It also gives you cushion for mishaps and miscellaneous things that can just happen, because life be life and sometimes, and it's not fun, but I think you can take the blow better when you're more prepared. My last tip financially is do not be in a rush to get an apartment. I do understand it's fun. It's an opportunity to just, again, curate a space that's best fit for you. However, it's just another responsibility, baby. And sometimes you may need this. Don't get me wrong, because like I moved out when I was 18. Like I've had an apartment since I was 18 years old. I've been living by myself for 6 years now. So I do get it. What I would say is. Don't rush it. If you don't have to just yet, don't do it. I do understand that everyone does not have the opportunity to be in a position where they can save. Or you could be, you just moved out, you got displaced out of your home, you got kicked out, your parents bugging or something like that, and you had to figure it out on a whim. Do what you got to do. I don't know what it is you got to do, but do it. And you will worry about the consequences later. I would say, like, I'm not going to sit here and just be like, oh, you should have 3 to 6 months of, you should have $20,000 saved up before you move to an apartment. Like, that'll be so out of touch reality, y'all. Sometimes you just got to get down with the get down and everything else, and you figure your way out the rest of it, because that's just how the cards get played sometimes. So for anybody who is looking and you just got to get down with the get down with the get down, baby. But yeah, so that was all my financial tips. If you can save 3 to 6 months worth of rent. Do not be in a rush to move, because if you're not in a situation where you're not pushed to move out, don't push yourself to move out, baby. Make sure you are accounting for utilities and not just the rent, so you don't get in the apartment and be like, dang, I was not expecting this. Like, no, take $3, even $500 off whatever you thought you wanted to pay, if that's necessary. Take your time with furniture. Get a roommate if you need a roommate. Do not recommend getting a roommate on the same lease. This is why I kind of said something about going into a college town, because I just personally don't believe in holding on to like that, holding on to a lease with someone that you don't really know and could put you in a gray area of responsibility. So if you can find a private landlord or someone who does like leasing by the room, please do that. Make sure you are making enough to where you can live comfortably and pay rent. Don't strain your budget if you're making $2,000 a month, there's no way your rent should be $1,800. And unfortunately, that's a lot of people's reality, which sucks. But I think, you should consider that if this is you going into like your first spot. Let's talk about some social tips though. When you get your new apartment, don't have everybody all in your space. Everyone should not know where you lay your head at when you move, okay? I need you guys to like drill that through your head, because like one thing I think a lot of people think, oh, when I get my apartment, it's gonna be the hangout spot. Like, no, you should not be inviting everyone to your space. Only people that you trust should know where you lay your head at. I think sometimes we take it a little bit too lightly, especially if you are a woman. Don't do that. Every man you go out on a date with should not know where you live. Every person that you like and you kiki ha with, that's your homegirl, they should not know where you live. I think you should get to know people a lot, not even just a little bit, before you invite them into your space. So socially, do not let everyone know where you live at. It never gave smart. It never gave smart, baby. Like, let's I know you excited, but let's just chill. Daddy chill. Another thing, don't let everyone know you live alone. Oh yeah, I live by myself type of thing. It shouldn't be something that you broadcast. If it ever came up in conversation and you feel inclined to give out that piece of information, or you feel comfortable enough to, so be it. But everyone should not know that you live alone. Again, especially if you are a woman. I know it's something to be proud of. Like, oh yeah, I take care of myself, da-da-da. But everyone should not know that you live alone. I think that's just safety precaution. Don't have everybody at your house, and don't let them know you're living alone. Few mental tips for your new apartment, because you just got a new apartment. 1, keep it clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. But on a more serious note, having a clean home to come home to does wonders for your mental health. If you did have a parent who did not teach you how to clean, this is your opportunity to learn how to do it yourself without having anyone else all in your tea, everybody else all around you, all that good stuff, especially if you're living by yourself. This is an opportunity for you to explore, like, hey, do I like it like this? Do I like that? And if you already know how to clean, girl, clean up, okay? It's not going to look unlived in, but keep it clean. Clean enough to where you don't possibly attract pests or whatever they may look like. Another mental tip I would say is you have a blank canvas. So create room for new habits. So it's like, okay, let me put myself in a position to mentally and physically, I have this blank canvas, giving myself the opportunity to explore myself. So always make sure you're putting yourself in a space where you're able to create new habits. Like, don't just fall into bad habits because you got an apartment. Of course, it's a safe space for you, which leads to my next point. Make sure you create a sanctuary for yourself. Your home. Ooh, it made me think of Cleo. So don't you ever Be afraid in your own home. But yeah, no, for real, she said, don't you ever be afraid in your own home. With that being said, it's just create a space where you can feel safe, where you feel loved. Speak life into yourself in your home. Bring nothing but positivity home. Let the weight of the world fall off at your door. And when you walk into your home, this is your space. You create a sanctuary not only with furniture, not with furniture at all, but honestly with the mindset. Because we're talking mentally here. I remember when I first moved to Texas. Granted, I got my furniture within like 2 to 3 days. But any apartment that I've ever moved into, I slept on the floor for the first 2, 3 nights, and I'm like, hey, this mine, my home, my home, my home. It's a mental space. Like, be proud of yourself. You have a new place to lay your head that's yours, and nobody can take that from you. You did it. Create an atmosphere for yourself, a sanctuary where you are safe and able to be free from whatever it is that society has done to you or has made you feel. Open your mind up, open your soul, open your heart, and allow your space to just really be somewhere where you can thrive. And last but not least, we're going to talk about a few spiritual tips. So the first spiritual tip I would say is invite God in. Invite God to love and take over your home, okay? You might ask me, oh, well, how do I invite God into my home? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what your spiritual gifts are. I know what mine are, but even then, it's just the ability to just curate that relationship between, I don't even want to say curate, build that relationship between you and God. Offering silence, praying over your home. Every time I move into a new space, I anoint it. I anointed all my entries, all my exits. I pray over it. I speak to God and what it is that I expect to be done while I'm living in this home. I come here with expectancy in my heart. I come here with gratitude in my heart. I come here with love, humility, everything that it is. Praise, because praise is what I do. So you have to really invite God into your home when you get this apartment. When it's your first place, like, girl, big steps. Amazing. You're doing, congratulations. Like, you're doing great. You'd be a fool not to let God in. So another tip spiritually would be, if it is not serving you, it does not belong. So that can be people, that can be habits, and that can be ways of thinking. Focus on letting it go and create space for something new to come in. That ties back into creating a sanctuary as well as making way for new habits. I want you to invite in everything that is good for you. I do understand, like, a lot of times, like, I can be real with you. Like, at one point in time, when I had got one of my new apartments, I entered one of the worst depressions of my life because life was whooping that, turning me every way but loose. I had to learn how to let go of things that was not serving me, and eventually I found peace. By the time it was time for me to move out of there, but when I moved into my new spot, I said I wasn't letting that spirit come back on me again. I wasn't allowing myself to go back into those old ways of thinking. It's like, okay, this is a new canvas for me, and I'm going to create a new reality. So now I got to figure out how I can do what's best for me. And last but not least, fill your cup up at home, girl. Whether that's doing your Bible study in the house, praying, worshiping as loud as you want to worship, whatever that may look like, I want you to be sure that you're giving yourself the opportunity to fill your cup up, because when you walk out that door, you're going to be pouring into everyone else that's around you. So those are my tips for your new apartment, financially, socially, spiritually, and mentally. If you like this and you enjoyed this, I want you guys to drop your best piece of advice for when you get in a new apartment. Whether that is a product that you need, good habit to have, whether that is just a nice tip, a hack, whatever it may be, drop it in the comments and let someone know, or let a younger lady know who's getting their first apartment. What are some tips that you would give them, and what should they do for their apartment? And alongside that, I plan on working on a spreadsheet or a to-do list that I'm going to drop on my website, ruthytolenbusiness.com. And it's completely free. It's just a checklist for things that you need to get for your new apartment. I hope this video gave you guys some type of advice, or it was valuable to you. If you feel like there was something I could have done better at, let me know. Enjoy your new apartment. If you're watching this video and you ain't got one yet, it's coming. I'm very grateful that you guys watched this video. And you have an amazing day. Talk to you later.